Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Obviously, we can all make statements. The problem is we have to back them with evidence. We have to bring supporting evidence to our statements. So if you say that guy is a bad dude, you have to bring the evidence to prove that that guy is a bad dude. And the evidence is facts, facts that you can verify. Sometimes there are some interpretations, sometimes make some logical connection between information that you got. All this together with other methods, you reach or are able to reach closer to the truth, or you can support your statement and say, hey, this is my supporting evidence. We have here the White House, and the White House comes out and makes a statement saying that Hamas actions are genocide against Israel. Okay, well, we're going to analyze that. And then since it always takes two to tango, we're going to analyze the other side of the equation, which is Israel, right? We're going to provide some numbers here. I'm not going to blame anyone. I'm not going to place any, how should I put it, blame on anyone. Let's put it nicely, mildly. So Hamas's actions are genocide against Israel, White House says today on Tuesday, 21st November 2023. The United States believes that Hamas actions and intentions against Israel constitute genocide against the Jewish people. Okay, well, that's what you say. And this guy, John Kirby, says this, and I'm quoting, "What Hamas wants, make no mistake about it, is genocide. They want to wipe Israel off the map. They've said so publicly on more than one occasion, in fact, just recently. And they've said that they are not going to stop. What happened on the 7th of October is going to happen again and again and again." He claims because he has a crystal sphere. And end quote. He says, Kirby stressed that Hamas had killed and massacred innocent people in their own beds. And what if they were in other people's beds? Does it count? If they're innocent but in other beds? Imbecile. And at the music festival, describing it at, quote unquote, genocidal intentions, end quote. Okay, all right, well, all right, my friend, says Kirby noted that the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution allows people to express their opinions. Well, if there are negative consequences like hanging, you can express your opinion, but you will not because you're afraid of the consequences. Or if you're going to get fired for expressing your opinions, then you kind of like not express that. So yeah, he's right, but he knows. Now, okay, he says, I'm quoting this guy again, Israel is trying to defend itself against a genocidal terrorist threat, end quote. Kirby noted. Question for Kirby. If someone tries to do that to you, can you commit genocide in return? No, right? I mean, you defend yourself, but if you're going to do something that comes close to war crimes, we're going to be considered war crimes, right, Kirby? I'm pretty sure he's not going to agree with that one. So let's look at some facts. So, first things first, let's go to the United Nations, all right? United Nations, and this is an article, let's put it this way, saying in Gaza, thousands of children killed within a few weeks, says UN's Guterres. That's the United Nations Secretary General. So who killed those guys? The children, thousands. Hamas? All of them? All right, well, this is one. And we have, I'm going to go to the same thing here, United Nations, Gaza. Unprecedented and unparalleled civilian death toll, Guterres said, 20th of November 2023. So this is from yesterday. So who killed those? Who is he talking about? Both these guys right here, or just the guys right here? Which one? All right, so we're going to read from these numbers, and we're going to compare them, with whom? With the crimes in Ukraine. And remember, these guys have been fighting over there for, 1 month and a half? And we're going to compare the numbers in 1 month and a half versus 1 year and a half. More than 1 year and a half. So let's start. Actually, let's go to this one, which is the same one, but nevertheless, it says here, without entering into discussing the accuracy of the figures released by the Health Ministry of Gaza, which are regarded by United Nations as reliable, he said that, and I'm quoting, "What is clear is that we have had in a few weeks thousands of children killed," end quote. Thousands of children killed. That's at least 2,000. Latest reports from health authorities indicate that more than 13,000 civilians in total have died in the enclave since October 7 terror attacks by Hamas and subsequent Israeli offensive. All right, well, that's not all. We're going to go where? We're going to go down. Where is that? Here. Mr. White, I don't know who Mr. White is, Tom White, director of the United Nations RWA, right here, affairs. So this guy said on Sunday, said that 73 people had been killed in United Nations RWA shelters. Oh, you know what? Let's see who those guys are. Okay, these are the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for now. So white work for Palestine refugee in the Near East. So this is the United Nations body. All right. So this is what these guys are saying. So the director of this provided with this information. So 73 people had been killed in this kind of United Nations Relief and Works Agency. Shelters. They were killed in the shelters to date. Who killed them in the shelters? Hamas? A large proportion of them in the south. The reality is the Gazans have got nowhere to go for safety, and they are all exposed to the threat of fighting and particularly airstrikes. The official said, according to the UN agency, more than 880,000 internally displaced have sought shelter in 154 UN RWA installations across all 5 of Gaza's governorates. Out of Gaza's 2.3 million people, 1.7 million are now displaced. Remember this one? Okay? All right, well, I'm glad. To date, 104 UN RWA staff have been killed, along with at least 11,000 people in Gaza, according to health authorities. They were people, civilian killed. How many you would put over there? So this is what happened in a month and a half. Under whose, and we're going to put this here, right? Under whose attack? Who attacked Gaza? Because the other guys we have here, since Hamas terror attack on Israel that claimed around 1,200 lives, with nearly 240 hostages captured. Hundreds of thousands of Gazans have fled south. So this is right, the evidence provided by United Nations. Now let's say that's not 13,000 people. There's now thousands of children. But how much do you think you can inflate that? To 6 million? To 10 million? To what? You can't, because they're 2.3 million. But hey, if people lie, they will lie big, right? So that's in Gaza. And I'm going to contrast it to the war in Ukraine that we heard so many stories about what the Russians did over there. And probably they did. So let's see. This comes from Ukrinform. This is from today, the 21st of November, right here, 2023. War with Ukraine. United Nations, the same guy, records more than 10,000 civilian deaths in Ukraine. 10,000 versus 13,000. Where are they? Where's the number? Down or up? Let's go. I don't think it's up and down. Right here. More than 13,000. Right there. This is in a month and a half. And this is in a year and 9 months or so? 9 months? It says at least 10,000 civilians, including more than 550 children. Not thousands. Remember here they said thousands of children were killed. Right here. Thousands of children killed in a month and a half. And you have here 560 children. One child is too much if it's killed. Got it? So let's start with that one. Have been killed and over 18,500 have been injured since Russia launched Paparap Pupurup Koporop. So if these guys are telling the truth, which is United Nations, all right, here, and they must be telling it maybe here too. You know what I mean? So you tell me. Okay, those guys said it, those guys did what they did. Their actions proves that, kind of the intention is right there. What about the other side? I'm not pointing the finger, I'm just asking a question. Can I ask a question? That's the evidence provided by the United Nations. If you don't believe the United Nations are trying to be at least, balanced, then who's balanced? Only whomever. Is this guy balanced right here? Is this guy balanced? That's the only one, as long as he said what he says, which, as I said, could be whatever. Put the evidence. But then you're going to go here, right, and say, hey, wait, there's genocide right there too, no? Isn't it? And then you go over here. What are you going to do with this one? Huh? What are you going to do with that kid? So if we are to find the truth, or we, pretend to care for disasters and, try to give relief and find the perpetrators, we have to be fair and just across the board, regardless the name, regardless the race, regardless the age, regardless the ethnicity, and so on, the creed and blah, blah, blah. So Mr. Kirby, I think he's just, looking at it very narrowly. All right, this is it, my friend. This is an I don't even know how to call it, a big tragedy. I mean, it's a tragedy, and it's not stopped, and it's going on. In 1 month and a half, these guys surpassed what the Russians did in Ukraine for 1 year and 10 months, or 9 months. All right, that reminds me of some massacres compared to other massacres. Again, if you put it on the extended time, like the Second World War, and you bring the number for certain kind of genocide, and you look at other genocides that occurred, you're going to realize that some people were, negatively speaking, more effective. Go and look. There I got two at least, one in Africa and one in East Asia, by Vietnam, if you remember correctly. If you don't, then you're going to find more than that. But somehow, these guys, peace, my friends, peace. But we have interest, we have desires, and when you have strength, you have power, you tend to break the rules of the game. Why? Because you can. That's the way we are. I'm not saying that's the way it should be, but it's clear what's going on in A, B, C over there. It's just that Kirby focuses only on A. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.